Let us be doing.
And welcome to a
Yay.
Thursday edition of the Investor Guys podcast. How you doing there, my good friend, Mr. Bill Barnett?
I am
Wild
doing
Bill Barnett.
incredibly well. That's right. That's it. Don't you forget it. Now, if I can get the Zoom gal off of my screen here with her, this meeting is being recorded. There we go. Now I can see you. So, and I won't be poking you on the nose on the screen anymore. So I am doing terrific, sir. Good to see you as always. And thanks everybody for being with us for another Investor Guys podcast. You probably have picked up on this, but Kevin and I love doing this. We have a blast doing it. And it kind of rolled out of us, our conversations that we have. And then Kevin's like, we need to do a podcast. And he said, would you be interested in doing that? And I'm like, you bet. But that all kind of rolled out of the fact that we talk about this stuff. We can't get on the phone or on a Zoom with each other and not end up talking about real estate and what's going on with our businesses and what's going on with clients and stuff. So we love doing this. We love you being a part of it, and share it with your friends. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you give us a great review. Jump over to iTunes and give us a review. Give us that 5-star review. We appreciate that. And make sure that you're subscribed. All of our previous episodes, which are approaching up on iTunes, are approaching 100 over there. We've done more than that, and that number just keeps going in the archive. But you can go to investorguyspodcast.com. Investor Guys, plural.
Video there.
Yep. So you'll get to see this. And if you're like me, I love listening to podcasts in my car. And I like a lot of podcasts that are done the way we do, which are done on video. And I'll pull YouTube up in my car and find a podcast that I like to listen to and just let the YouTube run. And I'm listening to it. I'm not watching it, but there's some things available there that I don't find elsewhere. And so if that's you for this podcast, know that you can enjoy it that way also in your car, which I love podcasts in the car. And this is a great time frame. We are going to be anywhere from 25 to 35 minutes. Wink, wink, nod, nod. And would love to have you join us in your vehicle as well.
Yeah. And if you have Apple or Android Play in your vehicle, you're able to access us on most of the podcast platforms. They just won't be on video.
Yep.
But that's fine because when you're driving, you really don't want to see Bill and I there distracting you. But to Bill's point, as much as I know about Bill's sons and Bill's life, and as much as he knows about my daughter, my sons, and my wife, I know more about the real estate deals that he's doing. And he knows more about the real estate. He actually, the first thing he said was, did you get a hold of the lady for the resort? Because he knows that for the last couple of weeks, I've been working on a project down here in the Florida Keys that he's wanting to keep up on. So
but I want to be in on, real estate. Not just keep up on, in on.
We love real estate. And ever since I started doing that real estate club, people are calling me Mr. Real Estate because they're like, what is it?
There you go.
Been agent, broker, real estate clubs. I've been doing real estate clubs since, I realized 1996 was the first real estate club that I did. And it was at, and you'll probably remember this, Bill, even though it's not there anymore. It was at the Acapulco restaurant in Beverly Hills on La Cienega. And that was our first location. We did multiple different places since, and we have got multiple locations here in Florida now. Real quick, and we're going to get on to today's subject. If you guys are interested, wherever you are in the world, really, but in America, if you're in a major metropolitan area and you'd like to open a real estate club, a directed real estate professionals, that's DREP, go to drepclub.com. And just click on the contact. Say, I'd like to open a new club. I will show you, or we will show you step by step how to open up a club that you can do. It's not going to cost you anything. You're going to be right there. You're in the driver's side, the driver's seat. So you're getting all kinds of contacts. You're getting all kinds of phone numbers. You are going to be the person that they seek out in your market. But it's a great way to network. It's a great way to get a good, interesting group of real estate professionals. Most real estate clubs focus on just real estate investors. DREP focuses on real estate professionals. So real estate agents, real estate brokers, contractors, anybody that has services for real estate or real estate investors. and real estate investors, of course. So it's a great, great networking opportunity. So if there isn't a DREP where you are now, drepclub.com, read about us and just click on the link that says start your own club. What do you want to talk about there today, Bill?
One of the things that you and I have talked about offline in the last few weeks, and again, even today before we hopped on, was subdividing raw land and a lot of the creative things. So anybody can understands and thinks about, oh, I can take a block of raw land and cut it down into smaller lots and sell it off. But there's a lot of creative things that you can do with raw land. And so let's talk about what some of those things are and how to make money with them.
Okay. And let's get to that because we're actually, if we cut now, we're early on this first segment, which never happens. So we'll go ahead and pick that up for our next segment and we'll see you in just a minute.
A lot of real estate training programs claim that they will make you a millionaire, but how many of them will guarantee it? The Millionaire Blueprint comes with a millionaire guarantee. I guarantee that if you use the strategies and you use the formulas that you learn in the Millionaire Blueprint, you will be a millionaire. I guarantee that with a double your money back guarantee. Whether you have hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest or absolutely nothing, it doesn't matter. I'm going to show you how to start investing and be a millionaire guaranteed. Now, I can't tell you all about it in this short amount of time, so go to the guaranteedmillionaireblueprint.com. That's the guaranteedmillionaireblueprint.com. Watch the videos there. Read about the guarantee. Read more about what we offer with the Millionaire Blueprint. Get signed up. I'll see you in Palm Beach.
11 months out of the year, Bill and I host real estate buyers events in cities like Cleveland, Ohio, where we ourselves invest and see great returns. We show investors the types of strategies we're using, the types of properties we're using. We introduce them to people here on the ground and the resources that they can use to get started right away. Day 4 of this event, we're actually touring properties and making offers on properties. This event was designed to put properties in your portfolio right away, high-performing properties. Read more about the Real Estate Buyers event. Get registered. We'll see you at the next event, realestatebuyersevent.com. We are back. And, before we actually did this show, Bill was telling me about a really cool story about one of his clients that had purchased 60 acres, I think you said, out in West Texas. So let's start off with that story.
Okay.
So how to get it done.
So if you're looking at, first of all, let's describe West Texas. I can give you a 2-word description: flat, brown. West Texas, you get out toward Lubbock, where Texas Tech is, you get out in Midland, Odessa, it's just flat and brown. And I was telling Kevin there, you don't even really talk about buying dirt in West Texas. You talk about buying dust because that's what it's like. But does it have value? Of course it does. And you can't have, we're certainly talking about property that is not oil property, which there's a lot of out there. So I helped a client buy a 60-acre parcel of land. And it was in the middle of nowhere. He paid $1,200 an acre for it. So I'm like, does it have services? No, it doesn't. Does it have access? He said, well, yeah, it's got a road that goes to it, but it is literally an undeveloped parcel. Like, okay, so what are you going to do with it? It's in the middle of nothing. You wouldn't want to put houses on it because nobody would want to live there. He said, I'm going to divide it and sell it. And I'm like, that's great and wonderful theoretically, but who are you going to sell it to? And this is where I thought he was brilliant. There's a couple of things that he did. This was the first one. I'm going to sell them internationally. I'm going to go after the international eBay market for people that want to own not just a piece of America, they want to own a piece of Texas. And you don't get more American than Texas. And nowadays, it's even more so. So they want to own a piece of Texas, and that's how he marketed it. So he divided 60 acres into quarter-acre parcels. Now, is there an expense to do that? Yes, there is, because they had to be retitled so that, excuse me, so that he could sell an individual parcel. It had to have them reparceled, and it was about $300, $400 a parcel to do that. So it bumped his cost up to $1,600 or so all in on each parcel. Excuse me, on each acre, and he's got 4 parcels out of the acre. So he
And
sold
you didn't tell us what he purchased the land for. So tell us real quick what he purchased the acres for.
He bought them for $1,200 an acre. Sorry about that. I thought I said that. Forgive me. So he bought 60 acres at $1,200 an acre, and he had about $300 to $400 per parcel, which 4 parcels to an acre. So he had almost as much in the acre in having it reparceled as he did in buying it. So he ended up with each parcel then being less than $1,000. So when you look at the cost per acre, $1,200 an acre divided by 4, $300 a parcel, and it was about $300 to get it reparceled so that it had a separate title on it. And so he had $600 per parcel, 4 parcels an acre, $2,400 of cost into an acre. But he was selling them at $5,000 a parcel. And what made it so attractive, and he sold them like crazy. In fact, I was telling Kevin, so we got to go look at, see what else is out there to just duplicate this. What made it work so incredibly well? $5,000 a parcel with seller financing. You pay $1,000 down. He would carry the $4,000, the paper, for 10 years at 10%. So you go back, I don't even know what the monthly payment number looks like. But when you have $600 in a parcel and you sell that parcel for, let's not talk about payment right now. Let's just talk about down payment. $1,000. I got a $600 parcel. I sold it for $1,000. What kind of ROI are you making there? You're making a very, very nice ROI. You're in the 40s, certainly. Without putting a pencil to it, you're certainly in the 40s. And so he sold all of them. So he ended up selling 240 parcels with $1,000 down payment. So he had total, so remember, per acre, he had $1,200 in an acre. So he had the 60 acres, 72,000 there. So 72,000 out of the 240, got him down to 168. Then he had another 1,200, 300 per parcel. So another 1,200. So you take another 72 out, and he made $100,000 in the down payment. So he invested 60 or 72, but he made 100. So that's over 100% return on investment. That's about a, once you take your principal out, that's about a 35 to 40% return, cash on cash return. But then had 240 monthly payments coming in, and they were minimal payments. They were $25-$30. He went with 10%. When we were talking about why did you go that, and it was like to make sure that I got to $20 or $25 per month. But and let's just go with 20. Think about $20 a month times 4 per acre. That's $80 a month times 60 acres. So $80 a month times 60. 8 times 6 is what, 48 or 54, I guess. Sorry about 48. That bad math. 48. All right, so 48. So he's getting $4,800 a month. $4,800 a month. He's already made profit. He's already got a nice return on his investment. Now he's making $4,800 a month for the next 10 years. Are a bunch of those people going to drop out? They just are. That's the nature of selling land. What's going to happen when they do? He gets it back. And so all of this, go ahead.
Something else to point out before we go into the break. Once he subdivided all of that property and turned it into different properties, when the people purchased those properties, they became responsible for the property tax on that parcel. So his holding cost at that point turned into nothing. As soon as he sold each one of those parcels, he had no more holding costs unless he was paying off a loan, which he would have had to have paid off before he subdivided the property anyway. So his holding cost is also nothing. And he's just got money coming in at the tune of about $5,000 a month for the next 10 years, I think you said, right?
Yep, 10 years.
So money, money, money. We've got more to talk about, but we're up on a break. So we'll see you guys in just a minute.
My name's Kevin Mills. I have a real estate training program that is so powerful, I will back it up with a double your money back guarantee that it will make you a millionaire. That's right. Double your money back guarantee that you will be a millionaire if you use what you learn in the Millionaire Blueprint. I call it the Guaranteed Millionaire Blueprint, and you can read more about it and watch more videos at guaranteedmillionaireblueprint.com. That's guaranteedmillionaireblueprint.com. Check it out. All the information is there. Once a month, with the exception of December, Bill and I go to markets where we have experience and we host a real estate buyers event. These are markets that have great return potential for your real estate portfolio. We're going to show you the properties that we buy. We're going to show you where to buy, where not to buy, the strategies to use to make great income from these properties. We're also going to show you resources and individuals here on the ground that you can use to start building your team so that you can repeat this process over and over. The real estate buyers events are designed to put high-performing properties in your portfolio right away. If you're interested in hearing more about the Real Estate Buyers Event, realestatebuyersevent.com. That's realestatebuyersevent.com. Read more about the events, check out the schedule, and register. We'll see you there.
And we're back, and today we're talking about subdividing raw land. Now, out in West Texas, where the deer and the antelope play, and seldom is heard anything because there's pretty much nothing out there but wild hogs and crows.
And tumbleweed.
And lots of tumbleweed. What's funny is you'll understand this, and anybody that's in Texas will understand this. When I drive cross country, which I do a few times a year, I take I-40 because 10 through West Texas is just not only boring, it's literally miserable. And you are literally like looking for like dead hogs on the highway that may have wandered across the highway and gotten hit, that will mess up your car if you happen to hit. I try to avoid that whole thing. And I've unfortunately, out of necessity, made the mistake of driving west from Austin to try to connect to the 10 because I have family in Austin. And that's even worse because you're out on country roads, like 2-lane country roads, and you won't see anybody. Literally, people don't believe this. You won't see anybody for over an hour, and you won't find gas for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
I was towing a trailer with a car on it, and my truck was on E, and it had been on E for a while. And I had my son with me, and I told him, you know what? I said, get ready to start walking because I don't think we're fortunate. We found a little tiny town. They had just a gas station. The gas station was also the restaurant, was also the convenience store, and was also connected to a hotel. And there were about 8 buildings right there in that little town. And it happened to be where we had to turn onto another highway. And they say highway, it's a highway, and it's also a FM road, which means farm to market.
Yeah, farm to market. Yeah.
Two road strip of asphalt. That's not even like the asphalt, the finished asphalt that you're talking about. That's the asphalt they put the rocks on the top of. So that is my West Texas thrill. I prefer to look for other land myself, but a deal is a deal and money is money.
Yeah.
This is what Bill and I tell you all the time. It doesn't matter where the deal is. It doesn't matter how much you like or don't like something. If somebody told me I could make a 50% or 60% return on my investment every single year by investing in West Texas, I'd say, let's see the numbers.
Let's go. Yeah.
Let's do it.
So think about what he's doing. So he's already in the clear with the down payment and a great profit. So he's got a great rate of return before he ever collected one single seller finance payment. And then every single payment that he receives going forward, that rate of return just keeps clicking up, and clicking up and clicking up, because he's already gotten all of his principal back. And as you mentioned, he's really got no carrying costs, because once it's sold, he's done. It's out of his hands. And it was and when you're selling raw land, you have the right in certain cases to be able to sell your property, and you don't have to use an agent to do that. It was his property. He had the ability to sell it without having to sell it through a real estate agent. And because most of what you use a real estate agent for is marketing. If you're a seller, if you're a buyer, it's making sure you don't get caught with anything that somebody tries to slip by you. But if you're selling something like raw land, you can literally sell that on your own if it's yours. So you had no real estate commissions involved. A lot of great things to that story. I got
something that's going to be even better. And you're going to like this too. Just to do quick math, not even calculating the 10%. Okay. So he sold each one of these lots for $5,000. He has 60 lots, 4 lots on each. That's 240 properties that he still has $4,000 coming in on. Okay.
Yep.
So not calculating the 10%. Okay. In 10 years, assuming everybody, pays, but doesn't pay the 10%. All right. He's making $960,000 more. That's almost $1 million more on his $72,000 initial investment. And we can even throw in his cost of replotting everything. His initial investment is, let's say, $100,000, and he's making over $1 million on his $100,000 investment, and in 10 years or less. Those are pretty significant numbers. For those numbers, like I said, I'll buy 60 acres in West Texas and run some eBay ads. What else did you want to add before I interrupted you? I'm sorry. I thought you'd love that $960,000.
Yeah. So the two quick things. What got me started in the seller finance world, and this is a technique and a strategy that's coming back into vogue as the real estate market starts to change, and as prayerfully, hopefully, we can get the Biden administration out of the real estate business. This will be coming more and more into vogue. Again, was my dad always had 2 or 3 cars around that he sold. And I remember what prompted this conversation was a 1956 2-door Chevy and a Bel Air, and it was gray with a white top and the white accents on it, if you remember the Bel Airs. And so it showed up at the house one day, and he's got in the driveway and he puts a for sale sign in it, and didn't think anything about it because nothing unusual about that. Guy buys it, and he goes off, and 3 or 4 months later, the car's back. And I'm like, I noticed it. I'm like, I thought you sold that. I did. And I'm going to sell it again. So he paid $200. Now, obviously, this was many, many years ago. He paid $200 for the car, and he sold it for $800 with a down payment of, you guessed it, $200. So the car was paid for the first time he sold it. Every payment he got was pure profit. He sold the car 4 different times because he did seller financing on it. And it was always, okay, here's the deal. I'll do this, but you miss one payment, I come and get the car. And they did. And that's what he did. And they were late. He'd call and say, hey, you got like 3 days, then I'm coming to get it. And so he ended up selling the car multiple times, and it was amazing. But it got me introduced to this seller finance strategy as a business technique. So we talked about that with the acreage. And for houses, seller financing is a 10% plus premium to the market. So when you're looking at the market right now, A lot of people are looking for steady income, and doing a seller finance property is a great way to do that. We don't have time today to go into what I refer to as the seller finance secret weapon. Now, we'll do that on another show and make that it's got a little attachment to it we make available to you guys. We don't have time to get into that today because that one thing is a whole show, but it is a fabulous way to be able to make money. And as the market continues to turn, we're going to see a lot of ability to buy properties subject to, and buying a property subject to is a fabulous property to be able to turn around and sell with seller financing and just keep the spread. That's what banks and mortgage companies basically are doing all the time.
Arbitrage.
So, yep, they're just
That's not even the word I said.
the
That's
money.
not even the word I said we need to remember.
No,
We didn't get to that.
No.
We'll talk about that on a different show. But arbitrage, yeah, using somebody else's money, which is what we encourage you to do as well. If you've got $1 million, and I had this conversation, Bill knows I had an appointment this morning. I had this conversation this morning with this woman, and I said, if you have $1 million to invest, that's great. But what if you took money from 10 other people who had $1 million? Now you have $11 million to invest. How much quicker are you going to get to your goal, even though you're having to pay that higher interest, which was actually our show from earlier in the week. So if you didn't catch that. But so many different options. And really, I mean, the lesson here beyond, subdivision, which was what we were trying to get across. But the best lesson here is really being able to think outside the box. Don't get stuck inside the box. I used to tell people all the time, the thinking outside the box, everybody's been saying, think outside the box, think outside the box. I tell people, you know what, just throw the box away and create your own box and then think outside of that box. Okay. You don't have to do what makes sense unless it makes sense for you and for the numbers. If you can do a strategy like what Bill's client did, and you can walk away with money in your pocket and the numbers work, do it. It is all about the numbers. And that goes back to what we were saying in the show that we did on Tuesday. If the numbers work, it doesn't matter that you're paying a higher interest rate. You're still putting money in your pocket. A lot of people can't get past the other thing, just to revisit that show. A lot of people can't get past the fact that they're paying 12%, but they're only paying it for 4 months. They're only paying it for 3 months. Some hard monies require them to have it for 6 months, but they're only paying it for 6 months. It's just, I already thought of another show idea and I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it, because we're always thinking of show ideas while we're doing this and we forget. But we are over on this show. So we're going to wrap it up. And Bill, I will see you later. I will let you know if I hear from our resort lady.
Yay.
You have a great day. And I'll tell you my show.
You too, sir.
Finish up here.
All right.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for being
investing.
here.